As I walk into the kitchen, I'm met with the sad sight of Monica in distress, tossing a pan in the sink out of anger as she buries her head in her arms. Monica? What's wrong? You okay?
Zero. No point in lying to you. Now we promise to be honest with each other. I don't know what to do, Zero.
Tell me what's wrong, Monica.
Well, I think I made a mistake when cooking the food, and now it's ruined.
He's desperately trying to fight back the tears in her eyes and trying to keep a straight face, but failing miserably.
Damn it all!
Clangs another pan against the one she threw into the sink.
I can't do a damn thing right! I got you all excited and everything for our first dinner together, and now...
What should I say? Oop, save. Well, it's okay. Prepare for what happens next as Monica begins crying, unable to hold back her tears any longer. Reach out and pull her in for an embrace, surprising her and myself in the process. Monica cry like this. I never want to see her cry. I don't want to see her feel this way. I only want to see her smile and know that she's happy. Monica, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. No one can be perfect at everything they do all the time.
But...
Only food, Monica. You can always start over and try to do better. Just like this movie I saw by this hack of a director says. The best teacher, failure is.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry you had to see me this way.
In what way? There's nothing wrong with showing your emotions. Sure, I was a little bit scared hearing the clashing pans and all, but this dinner means a lot to you. I want you to know that I'm not angry or disappointed with you. Monica smiles through her tears as I let her go.
You're right. I shouldn't let something like this get me down. I just pick myself up and try again.
That's the spirit.
Thank you, Zero. I didn't realize you're so mature as well.
It will scratch the back of my head out of embarrassment. Don't scratch the back of your head out of embarrassment. No one has really called me mature before. What the hell happened here? I feel very confused about like what actually went on. Like I'm starting to feel like the food is a metaphor. If anything, I'm used to people pointing at me and saying, "Hey, look, it's the immature jerk. What up?" And you're complimenting me like this. I don't know how to respond. And as she goes back to face the stove, I remember what I came in here for. Oh, before I forget, Monica, I wanted to ask when your birthday was.
Uh-huh. You want to know my birthday?
I mean, if we're going to be a couple, we'd have to know little things about each other, right? Pretty sure your birthday ought to be on the top of my list of things to know. Monica's taken aback, blushing as she tries to find the words to speak.
Wow, I can't say how happy that makes me, Zero. You're sensitive, mature, and so considerate, too. Is even real life right now?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, do you think this is some kind of video game?
Alright. I'll go ahead and tell you, but pay attention, because I'm only going to tell you this one time. My birthday is September 22nd.
Of course.
How about you?
Mine is October 29th. Monica giggles to herself. She turns back to the oven. What is it?
Hi, Zero. I didn't know you had a thing for older women.
What the? Hey! Well, I'm only younger by a month. Not that big of a difference.
Just teasing you, Zero.
Got me again. I don't think I know how to get her back. Now they've got that out of the way, Monica, I'd just like to say I've always thought of you. I'd always thought you'd had one of the best smiles. When he turns to face me, sure enough, smiling at me.
Aw, thank you, player.
Player? What? Did it fuck up? That was a miscode. Unless Monica revealed herself to us. She is aware. Just do me a favor, Monica.
Oh? What is it?
I don't want to ever see you sad again. Please, keep smiling and never stop.
What?
I hurriedly leave the kitchen as Monica looked at me, blushing and bewildered. Ah, I got her with that one. And then I ran away. Take that, Monica. And I run away. Not a total lie or anything, since it did pain me to see her so sad. Looks like I'm not the only one who gets so easily flustered. Now then, I have to head back into Monica's room for what is hopefully the last time. Take the flashlight in my hand and proceed. That does sound like something you would do, Zero. I would not run away like, haha, fools. I will stay there so I can mock you consistently. So I can consistently tease you. I will not run away. I feel desensitized to Monica's room at this point, since I've been in here so many times already. Oh, weird it sounds, but there's no other way I can think of putting it. I look around her room for something that would need a password or code. There's nothing I can see until my eyes land on her desk. There's a computer sitting there with the power off. You can see at the desk and power it on. Upon doing so, it asks me for a passcode. 0922. Sure enough, that worked. Monica needs to rethink her choice of passwords. Anyone who knows her birthday can just break into this thing. Well, lucky for me, but unlucky for her, I suppose. The laptop boots up and I'm at her desktop. And that's over everything until my eyes land on a document named The Answer. Not The Answer! Aw, man, I hate that fucking expansion of Persona 3. That one's bad! Either she's pulling my leg here, or this is it. Once again, not too creative, but I'm not going to question it. I'm not doing to question it, I think I mean going to question it. Time to see what's in this document. Opening it up reveals some kind of diary.
March 22nd. My name is Monica Akiyama. I live here with my mother and father in this nice suburban area. My father is a businessman for some kind of business that I can't be bothered to remember. He's kind of a boring and plain businessman, now that I think of it. There's almost nothing remarkable about him, now that I think about it. March 23rd. He's just an unremarkable man who got a job, fell in love, got married, had a daughter, cheats on his wife, leads a secret double life, and goes on about life as if everything is completely normal and boring like he is. My mother has her line of work as a journalist. Not around as much, and as much as my father hates it, he makes more money than he does. A big part of the reason she's not around is so she doesn't have to face the reality of how awful her cheating husband is, or how much of a failure her daughter is in life. I know how she feels, and I wish I could just run away from everything as well, but I imagine my father would lose his mind without either of us here. Maybe that's why she stays here, continuously suffering. She doesn't want to abandon her husband and let him spiral into depression, or her daughter who she constantly pressures into being a good student. March 27th. I'm keeping a diary to put down my innermost thoughts and reflect on them later. Might even be some value to it if someone else were to read it. Right now, you're reading someone's private thoughts. Thoughts that I've never shared with anyone else, mind you. Well, I know I'm doing this just to keep my mind straight. I think that what I want is for someone to help me and save me from this nightmare. I don't know how to go about it, though. I can't ask for help directly unless I want people to think I'm worthless like my parents do. If someone truly cares about me, maybe they'll try to get closer to me. I can trust and confide in them. I can tell them. How will I know, though? Only way I feel I can do this without being too direct is by piquing their interest a little bit. Perhaps by luring them into wanting to learn more about me and hoping their curiosity gets the better of them as they try to sate their thirst for answers. Maybe with some notes, or maybe a scavenger hunt? March 30th. I'm currently keeping both of them under close surveillance. There's been a monumental change since the whole process started a week ago. At first, they resisted me, and even lashed out at me. Now they fear me. After all these years of being so scared of them, now the tables have turned and I have the power over them. I prepare their meals, but I refuse to give them utensils. they don't eat with their hands, then it's no big loss to me. Things are going to change around here. I'm not going to let them run me into the ground any longer. Show them some mercy. I tried to teach them a few things to help them adapt to this new way of life. After all, teaching lessons is the best way to help people learn and improve, right? To my dismay, they didn't take me seriously. They ignored everything I said and did and instead called me a demon child or devil spawn. I felt my generosity fade. I punished them by taking away their food privileges for a week. April 6th, I went to check in on my parents. By the time the week was up, I saw that my dad died, withering away to practically nothing. Mom was wasting away as well, clearly about to meet the same fate. I try to talk to her, she doesn't respond. She doesn't have the energy to cry or even look me in the eyes, like she was just an empty shell. Couldn't sleep at all that night, scared that I might have gone too far with this punishment. Even if they were causing me so much strife and grief, they didn't deserve this fate. What was I thinking? I've gone past the point of return now, and I don't know what to do. I just want to teach them a lesson, but then I guess my anger and lust for revenge clouded my judgment. In that sense, I became someone even worse than the two of them put together. All I could do was lay there in my bed, trembling and crying to myself. What have I done? What have I become?
I sank into the chair once I finished reading everything. Scavenger hunt. Stress. Our parents. It all seems to make sense now. I don't know what to make of this. Even thinking about it makes me sick to my stomach. Get up, but stumble a little bit, as my knees seem to have gone weak. As I fall to the floor, I notice something under the desk. What is this? Reaching over, I find another torn diary scrap. Even now, she's still doing this?
There's no going back now, but I know all this too well. Reading this, that you know my dark secret. You also demonstrated that you tried to understand me to some extent if you've made it this far. You want to know how this sad little story ends? Fine, I'll tell you. Go on and gently open the door. You know the way.
This isn't so much of a diary scrap as it is a challenge directed at the reader. Challenge directed at me. Hands are shaking as I turn the scrap over to see what I believe is the final clue. Monica. Change things forever. No going back now. Not for you or me, in this case. What I've just read on that laptop is true. You've committed some dark deeds that you could never go back on. Forced your parents to become so malnourished that they died. Much as I'd rather not, I'll go over to the closet and gently open the door. On doing so, I find it to be so dark that I can't see anything. That's when I look over the flashlight I brought with me. Snatch it and turn it on to shed some light on this dark situation. As I begin to wish I hadn't done that and I could forget what I forced myself to see. There, I see a group of corpses that are beyond recognition. One appears to be a female, one appears to be a male. The other appears to be a male, albeit of a smaller build. Thick stench in the air that makes me nearly want to puke. Honestly, how could anyone ignore this? Monica, what have you done? I try to persevere to get a better look. I don't have any visible injuries. I deduce the two of these corpses must belong to Monica's parents, going off her confession note to starving them to death. The other, it must be Mark. I have to get away from here. Just from this awful odor, but to avoid getting myself into further trouble. Should Monica discover me here? Just walk away and pretend I never saw any of this. Yeah, that's what I'll do. After that, I get the hell out of here and think of my next move. What will that be? I have no idea, but I'll think of that later. I step away and turn around and met with Monica's stern face glaring at me. Fuck my life.
What do you think you're doing, Zero? I thought I told you not to go snooping around a girl's room.
I can't even say at this point. Oh, well, I was just looking around your room for gift ideas. I had no idea you're a big fan of the Cascada. Show her for one of Monica's CDs, holding up and smiling. Yeah, I don't think that's going to convince her. She looks past my shoulder to see her open closet door.
Well then, you've seen my dark secret, haven't you?
Secret? What secret? I didn't see any secret. I sure didn't see any dead bodies or anything like that. What the hell's wrong with you, blabbermouth? Nah, screw it. I'm good as dead anyway.
What's wrong, Zero? Are you scared?
It's become quite shaky to the point I lose my grip on the flashlight, letting it fall to the floor.
It was very difficult for me, Zero. Do you listen to what I have to say?
I say there's no point in prolonging the inevitable, but I give a nod. Might as well enjoy however much time I have left. Too bad it can't be anywhere else but here right now.
Thanks, Zero. Where do I begin? When I was little, I wasn't anything like I am now. I was very shy, timid, and I could hardly do anything on my own. The old me, the original me, is nothing like what people see me as today. I was bullied quite a bit until the end of junior high school when I tried to adopt the mask I've worn to fool everyone. For that, though, people picked on me for being so scared of everything and for I was so easy to fool and trick into doing anything. I was everyone's doormat. I was everyone's fool. I was often picked on by some of the jocks for being so homely and gloomily looking too. When I tried to turn things around and become a prudent student, and it kind of worked.
Fathomable to think that Monica, one of the most beautiful girls in school, was picked on for being homely. I placed a CD on one of her shelves next to me as I continued to listen to her.
Couldn't take the never-ending torture anymore. I dedicated myself to my studies and worked very hard to get to where I am today. Started dressed differently and even started wearing my hair differently. After applying myself, it was like the old me no longer existed. She was nothing more than a memory. A memory that a lot of people conveniently forgot about. Changed everything about myself. Not just on the outside, but inside as well. As I adopted a more confident, cheerful attitude that was nothing like the old me who was scared and had little to no self-confidence. No one bullied me anymore. If anything, I had so many people wanting to be my friend. In some cases, I even had a lot of guys approaching me and showering me with compliments. Some of those jocks who picked on me are now throwing themselves at me for a chance to be with me. Huh. Only they knew who they were hitting up on. I bet they'd feel like total idiots.
The original her. I would have guessed that the original Monica was a scared, broken person inside. I wonder if she felt like she needed a mask for people to accept her. I wonder if she was unsatisfied with herself.
That didn't matter to my parents, though. Sure, they were pleased with my new grades for a while, but anything outside of that? Really can't do anything right, can you? They tell me things like that day in and day out, and frankly, couldn't take it anymore. No matter what I did, there was no pleasing anyone. I could honestly care less about what the teachers and students thought about me. My parents were the ones I wanted to be happy with me. I didn't want them to toss me away like I was some kind of failure or defective toy. If they didn't understand me or accept me.
I think back to the diary entries in her confession note. Seemed overwhelmed and like she was desperate for help. Doesn't justify her actions, but was blinded by her frustration and what seems to be years of pain and torment from never being accepted for who she truly was. Even now, she still isn't accepted for being the original her. This is just a mask, as she said.
Admittedly, I had a lapse in judgment when I snapped one day after I couldn't take it anymore. It was like a poison was running through my veins and it just took me over completely. I shouldn't have gone about things the way I did. I just didn't see it that way at the time. All I wanted was to punish them for never accepting me. Never loving me for the person I truly was. I just wanted revenge, as sad as it sounds. Validation. I still did everything I could to take care of them and think of ways to make sure the people at their workplaces didn't get suspicious. Shouldn't have let it come to this, but once I made the decision to let them go a week without food, it was already too late. I was even wondering if I deserved to live after what I'd done. I should atone for my dark deeds.
Monica,
That's when Mark came into my life and confessed that he liked me one day. I was so happy and I thought that I found someone who would understand me. Brought him over to my house, a lot like I did with you, He eventually found out about my secret, and it mortified him. Understandably so, but I was hoping he would at least give me a chance to explain myself. That's one thing I will say about you, Zero. He didn't want to hear a single word from me about why I did the things I did. Automatically branded me a criminal. A murderer. He confronted me, but then he tried to get away, threatening to expose me as the demented psychopath I was. But then I caught him. I couldn't risk anyone finding out about this, so I made sure to keep him right here with me. Forever.
After all this time, Mark disappearing was because...
That's right. No one could know. Mark made it clear that he wouldn't rest until the world knew about me, but I couldn't have that. There's already nothing else for me to lose, so I gave him the same treatment as my parents. I had become so dark and twisted by my lust for revenge that I just gave in to it. I already accepted that no one would ever love or accept me for who I was, so there's no point in trying to live a normal life any longer. And there was you. For some reason, I felt you would be different, but now I'm left to wonder. Are you going to run away too?
Let's... I mean, she's just gonna... I feel like she just needs a hug right now. Same feelings that drove me to confess to Monica take me over again as I rush over to Monica and throw my arms around her, holding her as tight as I could, as if the world around us were crumbling around us. Monica freezes in my embrace.
What? Zero, what are you doing? Don't you get it? I'm a murderer. If you stay with me, you're probably going to end up being arrested or even dead. Don't you understand that?
Monica's voice trembles and cracks as she bursts into tears. You didn't intentionally murder your parents, Monica. I know that from hearing you and from your diary. These feelings are natural. It's what makes you human inside. Although I'm going to say I don't agree with how you handled the situation.
You're not going to run away?
No. I can't leave you alone like this. When you don't have anyone else in this world you can trust or lean on.
Oh, Zero.
Monica's overwhelmed by her tears, she returns my embrace, squeezing me tightly as if I were all she had left in this world. In a tragic sense, maybe I am all she has left in this world. I know she was driven insane by the constant stress and pressure she felt, but that was because no one ever tried to get to know her. The real Monica. The true Monica. Not even her parents seem to care about her, which truly hurts and disgusts me inside.
Oh, Zero, what am I going to do? I messed up. That's putting it lightly. If I were to lose you now, I'd be alone all over again. I can't go back to that way of life. I'd probably end up with my parents and Mark if I end up alone this time. I have to atone for what I've done. I need to apologize to them. For everything that I...
Monica struggles to talk through her tears. Hold on to her even more, stroking her back. Not going to leave you, Monica. I love you. The real you. As I said, I'm not too thrilled at the idea of what happened to your parents. You didn't fail them, Monica. Failed you. Parents are supposed to raise you, support you, and make you who you are today. As far as I can see, didn't do any of that. If anything, they drove you to this dark and twisted state. It's no excuse for your actions, mind you, but we can work through this.
What do you mean?
Well, it's not going to be simple. We'll find a way.
I just wanted my mom and dad to praise me, to love me, to accept me for who I am. Why did it turn out this way?
Because they failed you, Monica.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I didn't say anything further. Monica continued crying, and I simply continued to hold on to her tightly as if she would float away from me the moment I let go. The way she's talking, mostly like something would happen to her, she would end up with her parents again. I can't let that happen. This poor girl is so damaged and hurt inside. Can't just leave her like this. She seriously doesn't have anyone left in this world. Can't help but wonder if, just maybe, I was able to give her that sense of acceptance and understanding she's so desired and was often denied. I stayed with her that whole night. I know it's not going to be simple, but I want to work things out with her and help her get through this. We'll find a way together. Time will heal her broken and troubled heart, and I will be with her every step of the way. Two years later.
This is such a wonderful place, Zero. How did you hear about it?
Well, let's just say a little birdie named Sayori told me about it one day.
She's always such a sweetheart. Although, I can't help but wonder how Megan's uncle is going to do now that there's some competition around here. Well, I can't deny it, this place is wonderful. I'd like to see about coming here more often now that we know about it.
I look at her, saying nothing and smiling at her.
What is it?
Nothing. It's just, remember what I said 2 years ago?
About what?
About your smile. About how I never want to see you stop smiling.
Oh, that's right. Well, I have every reason to smile when I have someone as wonderful as you in my life, Zero. I'm no longer lonely, so long as you remain at my side for the rest of our days.
After that night 2 years ago, Monica continuously cried her eyes out to me every evening when I would visit her after school. I never wanted to give up on her. I wanted to give her the support and love that she needed. I had to make sure she never did anything to take her life. I wanted her to live. I wanted her to find and make the life she wanted for herself, as she described in her diary. Eventually, Monica became to come to terms with what she had done. Don't approve of what happened, but understand it only happened as a result of the self-destructive path her parents set her on. You are so beautiful.
Well, maybe it's because I'm so in love.
No, maybe it's because I'm so in love with you.
So love has blinded you?
No, that's not what I mean.
You're such a dork sometimes.
After we sorted out some of the rather messy details, Monica began to genuinely show signs of happiness, knowing she had someone who loved and accepted her as she was. Years later, we're still a couple, deeply in love and devoted to one another. She has never expressed any desire to take her own life since then, or she devolved back to her dark and twisted self born out of pain and torment. She was smiling more and more, regaining her happiness and slowly showing signs of the parts of her she claimed to have done away with. She no longer feared what people would think of her if she was not perfect. She was at ease. She was at peace. She could finally love herself, the way I love her more and more every day. I'll always be here to make you happy, Monica. I promise you.
What brought this up all of a sudden?
Nothing. I just want to make sure you never forget.
Trust me, I'll never forget what you've done for me. All the times you spent together and how you've shown me nothing but love and compassion. I'm forever grateful to have such a wonderful man in my life, Zero.
Monica's fighting back tears of happiness as we get up and leave. Find a nice place to sit down in a park nearby after walking around for a little while. As I plop myself on the bench, Monica gets close to me and rests her head on my shoulder. She closes her eyes and smiles as she begins singing softly to herself.
Could it be you, or do I lose my way? I'm here, but colorblind. Could it be you, or do I break away? To leave the past behind. I only want to feel the sunlight, stop the fight and see it in your eyes. Wish I just knew what I should do. Could it be you? Somebody tell me if it's true. I don't have a clue. Could it be you?
Okay.
Oh,
So-
I'm back, and I saw everything.
I think we have a lot we need to discuss here. Because it seems like there is a lot of discussion around what happened here. So, there's a lot that needs to be discussed here. So, let me first go with my problems. So, I like it.
Yeah, I did too.
I felt that, so now, here's the thing I thought was interesting. So at first, one thing that was kind of pointing in my mind about the story was this. I was like, this story, because one thing that I'm going to say, this isn't an A-tier mod. At most, I think I'm going to give it a B+. The reason why is because this story feels like it could have worked with any character besides Monica. You know?
Yeah.
It didn't feel like something that was exclusive to Monica. This didn't feel like something that really used Monica as a character. This feels like you could have replaced this character and named her like, you know, like Cindy. And Cindy could have did all of these things and it could have been the exact same story and get the exact same feeling. That's my only, like, one of my biggest problems, I think, is that it didn't really have a DDLC feel to it. However, one thing I think that I thought kind of connected it with DDLC in a way is the forgiveness aspect. Monica kills her parents in this mod and kills the person you was going to reveal. In a way, it's kind of like how she killed the girls in the base game, and it's like, do you forgive her for that? In a way, I feel like it's very similar to that. It's like Monica killed the girls in the base game. She then realized she was messed up, and it's like, do you forgive her? This mod brings a lot of questions, because I saw a lot of people in chat being like, hey, I don't agree with her. She killed people. And it's like, that's a fair point. You can feel like that. But some people, like, for example, be like, she's crazy, and she's alone in this world. It's like, are you just gonna sit there and let her kill herself? Or, like, just let somebody... And even then, it kind of showed her parents weren't the best people. So it's not like she killed, like, it's like her parents weren't the best people. So she felt trapped.
They weren't the best people, but she didn't even mean to kill them anyway.
Yeah, she didn't even mean to kill them. It was something where she was like, she felt trapped. She felt trapped about the things that she did. So it was like, something where she didn't want to do that. So it was one of those things where it's like, do you just leave her there? Or some people were saying, oh, we just run and call the police. Well, first of all, she was probably gonna catch us and kill us like Mark. But
she's gonna fucking come after us.
yeah, but besides that, yeah, it's the point that it's like, yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, how far does your forgiveness go? I think is what the story is. How far are you willing to forgive somebody? Because I saw some people were like, oh, she's crazy and stuff. And it's like, is she though? Because she realizes what she did was wrong. She just is in a very bad spot. Yeah. So it's like, in a way, I really enjoyed that. And like I said, there's no wrong answer in my opinion. If you totally don't agree with what Monica did and you think Monica should be fucking like in jail, then yeah, that's probably not a wrong answer. But if you think that she shouldn't go to jail and that she should just try to atone and try to make the most out of her life, because I mean, technically, in my opinion, she already is being punished. She's never gonna live this down.
Yeah,
it's gonna be something she has to live with for the rest of her life. It's something that's never gonna leave her. To me, that's already punishment. And like I said, I'd understand better if her parents were like innocent people who tried their best to raise her. They didn't. They were shitty people. So I'm like, they basically raised her to be like this. They basically led her to be like this. So yeah, like I said, I can't give this mod an A tier, mostly because there was some things that I felt kind of iffy about. MC's reaction to some things was very iffy, like Monica just crying herself to sleep. I felt like he overreacted a bit there. I also feel like I said, the problem where this doesn't really feel super exclusive to Monica. The part that I feel like can be exclusive to Monica could be, like I said, could be like the fact that there is kind of a parallel with base DDLC, being that she killed people would you forgive her? You know, that kind of thing. Except for you could argue in base DDLC, it's more of a easier way to forgive her than this one, because this one, Monica straight up killed them without being crazy, while base DDLC, she was led to an epiphany that made her like that. But, yeah. Then he underreacted to the prospect of his immediate death when Monica caught him. Yeah, it's like, MC's reactions are very odd and all over the place. But yeah, it was like, honestly, how did she not go to jail or he's put in psychiatric ward? Because nobody knows. That's the only reason why, yeah. It's like, so I was like, I don't know. I liked this mod. I liked it. I thought it was good. Like I said, I think it'd be B+. I know there's other endings, but I mean, I feel like I don't really see a point in me going, yeah, because it says 4 right there. So, and I'm assuming since there's choices, you can get like bad endings or other endings. But it's like, in my opinion, I'm not really like super into wanting to get them. So, I'd probably just rate this mod just on its true ending, since it's called the true ending anyway, so. It's called the true ending anyway, so. But, yeah. I liked it. I thought it was cool. My only negative is that if I felt like what they could have done was, if they really wanted to put it with DDLC, they could have been like, like the thing that made her do like a turning point was that she became aware. So then she started treating her parents like that because she knew she was in a game. They could have easily did that, in my opinion, and that could have connected it to DDLC better and made it feel like that this is only Monica thing. But that's what I'm saying. It's like my only problem, I think, with this mod is that you could take out Monica and put in, like, Yuri. Like, or even, like I said, a random girl. You could create your own original story, which I think Libertine even said this mod is kind of based off of another story of this same exact thing. So, I guess that kind of proves the point that I'm trying to make here. Is that it's like, the only thing is this doesn't feel very specific to Monica.
Yeah.
But then Zero wouldn't play it because Yuri. Monica does have some parallels here and there. I can see her having parallels, but yeah, like I said though, but that it definitely doesn't feel unique to Monica is my point. That's one of my negative downsides about this. But like I said, I still like the mod, so I think it would probably go in the new B+ tier that I'm going to be creating with dimensions. So I think it's B+. Yeah. I don't think it's A, but I think it's B+.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. This mod was pretty good.
Mod picked up very well. I actually really, because at first I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And I did not expect, because it sparks conversation. I really like how it sparks a discussion, because it makes it, like I said, it shows how far is your forgiveness. Like, how far are you willing to go to forgive somebody? Because some people, they don't have much forgiveness. They're like, she killed people, get her out of here. And it's like, all right, that's theirs. Some people, like I said, me, for example, I'm like, they made a good point. She has nowhere left to go. If our MC tried to run away from her, what was gonna happen was she was gonna catch him, kill him, then kill herself.
There's probably an ending where that happens.
Yeah, so it was just more tragedy was just gonna happen. So how about instead of trying to stop her from doing anything else bad, I try to stop her. What's been done has been done. Let's try to prevent future things. That's my mindset, at least. It's like, what's been done has already been done. Let's try to prevent future things from happening. But yeah.
Yeah.
That is it. If you want to download this for yourself, there are other endings and such. So the link will be in the description. I highly recommend if you want to see the other endings to go download those. Go download it and see. But yeah, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Zero. Peace.
I'm a sharpshooter.